Oh my gosh, welcome to the Footy Museum and the Footy Museum podcast. I am Justin Whitty. I am co-director of the Footy Museum, and I am suffering from football overload. Co-director Maria Van Dyke and Lee, how are you dealing with this glut?
Call an ambulance.
Oh my gosh, we have Champions League, we have Europa League, we have the Premier League, we have all the leagues in Europe. And this week we started soccer. Major League Soccer is back. All right. Boo, boo, boo. Here it is. That's right. Did you watch any games?
I did. I did watch some games. I watched 2 games. Can you guess which games I watched?
Did you watch? Well, you watched the Fire game.
I did
We'll
watch
talk
the
about
Fire
that in
game.
a second. What was the other game you watched?
The Inter Miami Real Salt Lake game.
Ah, yeah. That was they snuck that in on the Wednesday before.
Why did they do that?
I don't know. I think it is internationally expected that the third worst team in the league kicks off your season.
Oh.
And what did you think of the Miami game?
The first half was all right for me. Yeah.
Miami won 2-0 against Real Salt Lake. Mm-hmm. And there were some messy moments where he kind of glided through defense.
I think the first half, all of those retirees had so much more energy, is what it was.
Yeah, I think the game was epitomized to me by when Suarez came off in the second half and he could hardly walk.
He was like, oh.
He looked like he was in so much pain. And the other thing I noticed, even in the first half, is they're very slow. Like you could get in behind them pretty easily. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. It was not as good a football as the other games I saw.
No, I agree.
Columbus, who properly opened the season against Atlanta, they looked like they were picking up right where they left off. I also shout out to the Columbus Crew social media team. They leaned into the Charlie Brown thing for Christmas. They did a happy birthday.
That's very nice.
Charlie Brown, happy
Merry
birthday.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Charlie Brown. LAFC Seattle was pretty good. That game was interesting because I was watching towards the end and I swore out of the top corner of the stadium in LA was a space shuttle peeking through.
Really?
A vertical space shuttle. And in fact, they are one of the cities that were gifted one of the space shuttles when they retired them from the space program.
Oh.
And it must be being erected near the stadium because all of a sudden part of the skyline out one view is a full-on space shuttle. LA gets all the nice things.
That's interesting.
There were lots of great tifos. There was great atmospheres, I thought, like loud atmospheres. You know, you get used to these English Premier League games, which are very top quality, not going to argue that. Mm-hmm. But sometimes the tensions are high and people are very British and they're not the most kind of energetic events. Not like a good Midwestern drunk stadium.
We love a good Midwestern drunk stadium.
Yes.
There's nothing like a Midwestern drunk stadium. It is the epitome of culture.
That's right. Well, one thing that's nice is the East Coast drunk stadium because that's where the Chicago Fire were. And the fans may have been drunk, but the players were also drunk because this game was crazy.
So nuts.
2 goals called back for offsides by the replacement MLS refs. Mm-hmm. Young Brian Gutierrez of the Fire kicking things off with a golazo.
Goodies booties.
Oh, from outside the box. It was amazing. I just screamed so much with so much enjoyment. I couldn't believe it. Why do I care about this team so much? And they really held their own against a very perennially good Union team, whose kits, by the way, did totally look like tire tracks.
It did. I do like the colors of the gold and blue, but it definitely looks like they got run over by a bicycle.
Yeah, not
like
great.
a motorcycle or something.
The Fire looked much better. A lot of their pieces. Unfortunately, one of those pieces they brought in, Andrew Gutman, out within the first 2 minutes, which I have not read yet what it is, but he knew right away it was something horrible.
He hit the ground
and he was broken up. That was hard to watch.
Yeah.
Costa came off in the second half. I thought he was really important in kind of not only controlling the game, he was really vital, I think, in their second goal. But also you could see his leadership on the field, even some of the dark arts, like slowing things down. The defense still looked a little shaky. Those last few corner kicks. It's getting a little nervous.
I turned to Jeremy and I was like, Jeremy, I'm feeling my Leeds TSD. Like just when they were playing with totally open defense and the Fire like have done the same thing in the past, and I haven't felt that feeling in a while. Then it came back, and I was like, oh, Leeds TSD. Do you think all this new blood, especially Kuipers coming on for the Fire, kind of kicked Shaqiri in the butt a little bit?
Shaqiri did play well. He was even playing a little bit of defense. He had some great balls forward. I think that it takes a little pressure off. Also, maybe he's getting used to the league. I think that any professional at his level must not like getting the criticism that he's received.
Uh-huh.
And he's not the only star in the show anymore. So I think it perhaps, but he has more, there's more parts around him. So I was looking at like the Fire's bench. A lot of people on the bench this year for the Fire were regular starters last year.
Yeah.
So I think the depth's going to be really good as well. But it was just a fun game to watch. Just bonkers. Shout out to my wife, Olivia, who I watched it with, who I love watching games with her because she immediately, she doesn't know like, okay, what's the stakes? What's the game? What team are we rooting for? And then it's just like, burn it to the ground, screaming, yelling. Obviously she knows the Fire, but we were yelling quite a bit at this game. What were you saying? I'm sorry, I interrupted.
Oh, I was just saying that second goal.
Oh,
where it ping, 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 and then made its way in. That was, we were like, ah, ah, ah.
It was bouncing around, but again, Guti also very responsible because it came to his feet right in front of goal. Instead of trying to blast one through a bunch of bodies, he smartly just taps it over, and Fabian Herbers controls it, puts it in. And at that point, it's like the 86th minute or something like that. So it's like game over. But, 9 minutes of
there's still so much time to play.
And they were dodging bullets left and right. But
a tie.
A tie against Philly to start the season off. Pretty good.
Not bad
They have
at
their
all.
season opener next week. I'm going to miss the season opener because my daughter premieres her high school show of Mean Girls when, you can't miss out on that.
No, Mean Girls is so nice.
But I'm excited to watch it nonetheless. One thing I was also very proud of is I think the ethos of the two teams perhaps were summed up at the two sideline coaches. Jim Curtin on the right, hair meticulously combed forward and over, was wearing a very rigidly erected collar up, maybe Prada jacket, looking very stylish and aware of himself, where lovely old Frank Klopas just give me some warm stuff from the Fire store and send me out to the field.
Maybe his luggage got lost and they had to give him a warm-up outfit.
I love it, man. He's also on the sideline with like the actual manual magnetic strategy board. He doesn't use iPads or anything. Chicago classic. Other areas in MLS, like I said, there was a lot of good fan engagement, but not so much in DC. DC did win. Christian Benteke had a hat trick, and they won their game. But there was no tifos because the DC United supporter groups are protesting the first games of the year because of the club's preseason games in Saudi Arabia. So I thought that was pretty interesting, and I think it's good that MLS teams are their supporter groups are starting to speak out. We saw a few Save the Cup banners. Sons of Ben, the Philly game, said we want the cup. I'm assuming that didn't mean MLS Cup because everyone wants that. Yeah. We know that means the US Open Cup.
Yeah.
So that was interesting to see. And in the Columbus game, which was revelatory, absolutely revelatory. And again, we have these replacement refs in MLS who are really crossing picket lines for the actual refs, which is not necessarily cool at all. There were a few moments where it felt a little nervy, and it seems like the MLS playbook for this is going to be let everything go, and VAR will tell you if you have to change anything. So I think there was a number of VAR cars that ultimately were right, but the process was a little slow.
Iffy.
And in the Columbus Atlanta game, there was they're reviewing a goal, and I felt bad for this replacement ref because Columbus has their VAR review video screen like 2 inches from some of like the high end ticket seats, and these very drunk ladies were just all up in his face. That woman has a camera, her phone like probably like 13 inches from his face.
Yeah.
They're just saying stuff, drinking their, what are those, Nooners or whatever they are. Oh my gosh. It just looked like a very tense situation.
Yeah. I mean, VAR still takes skill. Do these replacement refs normally ref in leagues that have VAR?
Some of them do. I don't know the extent of all of them. Some of them don't. Some of them are coming from lower leagues where they don't have it. But the thing with VAR is the way it goes is when something's reviewed, the booth is supposed to highlight and point things out to the ref, and the ref on the field has the ultimate call.
Yeah.
My sense in the current situation, the VAR rules are you will go to the screen, we will tell you what the call is, you will go officiate the call.
Yeah.
Which is fair because that's a lot. But also supposedly this was going to be the season where refs were mic'd up.
And would explain.
Would explain it. And these scab refs were having none of that. None of that was
one
going
step
on.
too far.
Oh my gosh. Also going on, just today, Liverpool secured the most prestigious cup in all of English football. The Carabao Cup, the Carabao Drink Company Cup. Just fantastic. It was a long game double, 2 extra periods where Virgil van Dijk won it on a header at the death.
My cousin
for
Virgil.
Chelsea. Yeah. Our cousin. That's right. Why did he drop the in?
Well, it's non-plural, so I guess
he spells it with a J too. Is that an homage to me or?
I guess so. It's because IJ is Y. It's the same letter.
I love the Carabao Cup because when you ask yourself, what if Liga MX could design the Premier League? What would it look like? It would look like the Carabao Cup.
I got so distracted by those ads.
By the giant, empty, wounded soldiers on each side of the goal, as seen here right after cousin Virgil's winning goal. I love it. Not only the branding on the field, but the patches, very Liga MX to me because no consideration of the kits or the field. And I love the aerial views more of these kind of pop-up graphics. They're just like totally distorted. But it was actually a good game, a long game. And I think that Klopp and company may pull off what's being called the Klopp Triple.
The Club Triple. Is that what it's being called?
That's what it's being called.
That's great.
The Club Triple. And what was especially remarkable is he played his young players. There were 3 teenagers on the field for Liverpool, and they managed to win. And I just, if only Chelsea had some money to back a team.
Yeah,
poor
they don't
Pochettino. Did you see him? The man, do you remember him when he coached Tottenham? He was kind of like the younger, energetic, not gorgeous, but like kind of cute, spry. He's put on a lot of weight. He's gone through the Chelsea ringer. Oh man, poor guy. And this was their chance.
I was hoping that Leeds can pull off the same victory against Chelsea in the FA Cup coming up.
I think they will.
Yeah.
I don't even think it'll be that close because they won't play their third string. And because of the break for Liverpool to play that game, they did not play this weekend. So that things got tighter at the top where Arsenal easily won once again. And I share this picture because putting these slides, sometimes you can't quite find the right picture and you're like, maybe AI can help.
AI can help.
And what they produced when I said, I wanted to have an image of like the 3 emblems of the teams, the top teams of the EPL kind of fighting. One, they won't show fighting, so they showed them dancing.
Okay.
2, like I believe 2 of them are wearing Liverpool jerseys, and they don't really quite have the mascots quite right on any of them.
That dinosaur has
I
2
decided
tails?
I decided to include it because this is kind of where my brain was with soccer this morning. There was a lot going on. It didn't quite fit together. There were things that vaguely made sense. Different leagues, different scores, different competitions, and it kind of merged into some sort of picture. So I do think in this case, this was an appropriate picture to highlight my understanding of the world this weekend. But we already talked about one of the main teams of the Footy Museum had a great weekend, but the other 2 are also rolling as well. Leeds United this past Friday.
Oh my gosh.
Pivotal victory
This
against
was
Leicester.
the most important game of the championship this season. Yeah, Leicester, who's been running away with the season, finally got their
losses in a row.
butts handed to them by Leeds United. And now Leeds is within 6 points in the table. It was incredible.
And how many in a row now? Is it 6
9?
9 in a row? 9 straight.
Yeah, 9 straight
I just
victories.
got my 6 upside down. Sorry.
Yeah, that's because your brain is scrambled
That's because
eggs.
that last picture is
Yeah.
still haunting me. It's haunting me.
So that's 9 victories in a row. I always love watching Faze on Leicester because one, his hair is like really bouncy and you can see him moving across the field. It's just like fun to watch. And 2, he's just always scoring own goals.
He's
that
just
benefit
a master of own goals.
that benefit my side. So he's a joy to watch.
He owns own goals.
He does. He scored the first 2 goals of the game. No, I don't know if it's the first 2. But he is fun to watch. But that game had me on my feet just like the Fire game did.
Oh my gosh.
My
We
heart was
could
beating so
very
fast.
well see them back next year. And the way my brain's working, that means that they will probably be playing the Fire, right? Next season.
I would love to see that.
And PSV keeps rolling on, have yet to lose. They just blew out their competition this weekend 7-1, featuring 3 U.S. internationals, Ricardo Pepe, Serginho Dest, and Malik Tillman. They also tied Dortmund last week in the Champions League. So, if you want to win, the Footy Museum's for winners.
It is. We only follow winners.
And we only cover histories that win, like all historians. You only cover the history
histories
that wins. That's not true because all these teams have suffered in the past, but it's so great to enjoy. And I want to end with a little shout out to the Europa League, which had some great atmospheres this weekend. Probably one of the most interesting,
very funny.
was Legia Warsaw. It's what I will not try to pronounce.
Sounds right
in
to
the
me.
proper way. They were playing in the Europa League this week, and in the last round, they were charged by Dutch officials for unrowdy behavior, including fans attacking a police officer. It is the fan base does not have the best record. That's not really to be celebrated. But for this last week's match, the part of the stand where most of the younger fans of Warsaw and a lot of the supporters usually stand and show their tifos was closed. And before the game, fans dropped this banner and said, "This time you won, UEFA," kind of signaling like, "Oh, okay, you close us." But then, just as the game's about to begin, on the other side of the stadium, this tifo was unfurled with the Lego with the shades on, the Legia L, where it says "Surprise, Mother Lovers," and fireworks going off. And this kind of lit up the internet. I think, I don't condone bad fan behavior, but this was pretty funny. This was a really funny choreographed piece.
Yes.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't hurt people. Violence is never.
No, violence is never good. But the way people talk about this is that Warsaw released an X-rated tifo just because of the. I'm like, I don't know about that.
X-rated implies something else, I think.
So that's a quick. There's so much going on, and we are preparing to do our second segment on the history of soccer in Chicago. But we thought we would give a brief, unsolicited and underinformed, just for everyone who's just dying to hear from this week. So that's it. Anything you wanted to add?
Give me 1 second.
Podcasting, it's all about long pauses and slow reactions.
Edit that out. No, that's about it.
Okay. All right. That is the story of football.
The soccer kind.
Yeah.